Well, we worked from the end, actually, and to remind you of my thought processes, what I ended with was ades, you are present. And I ended with that because I wanted to precede it with the word Mildred. I'm inclined, actually, when using modern words, modern names for humorous purposes, I don't necessarily Latinize them. I think it's probably more amusing not to. But of course, if you do want to Latinize it, all you do is stick an A on the end and allow an elision, of course, but Mildreda, ades, scans perfectly well in the same place. So Mildred, ad, well, naturally short, but obviously long because it's at the end. So that was what I started with. What do you do next? Well, you need the other dactyl in the second half. I was thinking an adjective with Mildred, given that Mildred is female, that's quite convenient, really. And actually, you do find more female and neuter plural sort of people, words, concepts in the second half of pentameter than you might otherwise expect. And the practical reason for that is that that short A is very useful indeed. So the next thought was a suitable adjective. I think I came up with rustica with Mildred. And everything else flows from that. In other words, ades, you are present, rather than ad sis, may you be present. In terms of sense, ad sis might have been rather better, but of course it's not going to fit in that position because AD-SIS, the two consonants are going to make the A long. Ad, naturally short, but of course long by position when followed by two consonants. So what do we do now? What do we do next? She is present, ades, you are present, rather than ad sis, may you be present. That then starts controlling the thought of the rest of the couplet. I've got to have something saying, you are present, rather than may you be present, and therefore I think, well, get some hoping in there, as I hope you are present. So I don't not claiming the first half of the pentameter is great, but I think it works. Nobis for us, ut spero, as I hope. Rustic Mildred, you are present. So that provides a sort of excuse for the ades rather than ad sis. And that was the thought process behind that. So no bis, of course, two longs. Note that the is, of course, is long by nature. So the fact that I'm following it by a vowel in ut doesn't matter. Spero, so fairly heavy. Spondaic start. Of course, given that you've got these compulsory dactyls in the elegiac couplet, elegiacs always have a certain sort of necessary lightness to them. You can't get away with a spondaic pentameter. It's meaningless in the way that a hexameter can, if you want, have 5 of the 6 feet spondaic. So yes, what else did I write? Oh yes, I was thinking, what else can she do, or how can we describe her? I was thinking actually of punning a bit on Dexter, the name of the little village that the barn is close to. Dexter, right hand. So why don't she do something with her right hand? That goes at the end. Dextra in the ablative. Obviously, one could have other cases, but that seemed to work there. Now, what do we do with the 5th foot? Infinitives, very useful. It's got, however, to be a 3rd conjugation verb to produce a shorty ere. The last E is, of course, always short, but if you want ere in that position, it's got to be a 3rd conjugation. Tolo, tolere, to raise will do. Tolere, to raise up. Oh yes, I think in terms of thought processes, I also, I think actually, rather than thinking of the infinitive first, I think I thought of the beginning first. Musa, O muse, soles, meaning, of course, you are accustomed. Soleo, nothing to do with sun, which is a long O. Soles. Muse, you are accustomed. And of course, if you're accustomed, you've got to be accustomed to do something, hence an infinitive is necessary. And that's rather convenient because actually infinitive fits in the 5th foot. So actually those two thought processes are more or less sort of simultaneous or going together, but I think in practice I happened to think of soles first, the infinitive later, but the other way around would also be quite sensible. And soleo is quite a useful verb, actually. Anything that can naturally introduce an infinitive when you need one for metrical reasons, that really is quite helpful. So, well, tolere, raise up, you've got to raise something up, haven't you? So the object comes next. I think I said titubantes, didn't I? I've got quite enough room there. Titubo, meaning to sort of totter about. Titubantes. And that's how we get the equivalent of our 3 longs to fill that gap. So we're back at this 0 now. We've just got a gap of the equivalent of 2 longs, and that's the last element of the process. How do we fill that gap? Well, an adjective to go with dextra right hand seemed sensible. It could have been an adjective to go with, well, titubante is already a participle, but it could have been something else going with that, I suppose. But I think 40 strong going with dextra was the solution.